Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is your Limitless Leadership Podcast. Let's lead without limits. Welcome to your Limitless Leadership, folks, with my very, very special guest, Jennifer Widman, today. And today we are going to talk about, which is one of my favorite topics because I have been challenged by this in the past. Referrals is, how do I say this? Cold calling is the punishment for not asking for referrals. So if you are not where you want to be in business, you might want to listen to this because that's really what it comes down to. And I love Jenny's mentality on this because we do a lot of like trainings and what have you. And just how phenomenal she is at this. And I know I'm putting her on the spot here, but if I'm you and you're listening to this, I would buckle up. I would get out your pen and a sheet of paper or a notebook because you're going to wear it out. And I would start taking some notes is what I would do. So welcome, Mrs. Widman, to talking about referrals.
Yeah. Referrals. That's such a funny name. Like where did that name even come from? I feel like it has such a negative connotation in today. Yeah, it's interesting, but people have pinned it that way, and so it's more of like growing your network. It's more introduce me to. I would love an introduction to. I'm trying to hit a big goal. It's trying to find other word tracks that you can say to not make it so ick. So, yeah, referrals. I do love this topic because it's the only thing I've known in my sales career that has given me the most momentum and the most sales with the least amount of work. And so I've really tapped into it and I love it. And
that's awesome.
I'm one that when you find that champion, you work that company deep. You work in that company. And I've done it time and time and time again. And I'm very thankful for the relationships that I've found in these specific companies. They're the deepest relationships I've had in sales doing it this way as well. And so I love it. And I don't know where you want to start or where I can go from here, but I can give at least like the number one thing that you do. And then from there, just how to work a company deep is what I'm thinking.
I'm going to talk about a little bit about that right off the bat. When you just said that, it made me think of a story with Derek Tam, and he's over at Northwestern. He's an MD at Northwestern. And I was really new to speaking, coaching, training. And now the thing with Jenny and I, we still sell. Like we're practitioners first. We do this second. And I was told to call him randomly. His name came up. I wasn't referred to him. I was just told you need to talk to Derek Tam. So I called him and he says, I'll let you come in and speak to my group. And if you don't suck, I'll refer you around. Those were his words, which I loved because it put a lot of pressure on me. And again, I was pretty new to the business. And going downtown Minneapolis, I'm peeing my pants thinking I better knock this out of the park. It better be pretty good. So I'm practicing. And he did. He came up afterwards and he said, that was pretty good. Send me some names and I'll refer you around. And that thing right there, this is where I'm going with this is the power of referrals and introductions catapulted my business. It changed my life. And when people say it changed my life, I know that's like a big thing. But what it did is it added confidence to what I was doing. Because now I know that I can talk to these other people because his name is behind it. And if he thinks I'm okay, then these people will let me come in as well. And it just started this evolution of things that grew my business, honestly, astronomically. But the other thing that it did, it added so much confidence and told me just to keep practicing and getting better and all these different things because of that conversation and because of asking about somebody that I should have a conversation with. And that's when you just said that you go really deep in companies. That is one of those stories that you go from not knowing what life's going to bring you, where you're going to go next. You're broke, you're struggling, things just kind of blow and it changes everything. And I know you have so many, maybe not in the same stories of being broke and what have you, but so many stories of working with people and really digging in and just creating those relationships. I would love to hear, because you've talked about like the Tonys of the world. I've watched you do it with numerous different companies. So just how you do it, the things like what was the hardest thing for you to do it? What's been the easiest now that you know how to do it, or the easiest to do it? And why do we make it so hard? Just things like that. I would love to know.
Yeah. Well, one thing that you said though, someone telling you have to talk to Derek Tam, that is a referral. Like
It
that
is. It
is
absolutely is. Yeah.
that's a name that they're saying it's okay to use my name.
Yep.
That is a referral right there. And I feel like people do make the mistake that you just made when you said that, because it's like it's as simple as that. And I feel like people overcomplicate it, that they
Yeah.
think this referral needs to be a name, a phone number, a fun fact, a three-way text. Like, yeah, of course, all those things are wonderful and you should get them. But at the end of the day, a simple you need to talk to this person is a referral. So I guess the first part is don't overcomplicate it, but I don't think it's hard. And as you're asking that, I think it comes back to when I was door knocking. I did door to door sales for 6 years, and it just became word tracks I said all the time. Like, as soon as I left one family, I got all of the neighbors surrounding. I got their best girlfriend. I got the big names I need to go talk to. And so it became just like brushing my teeth. Like it's just something that I do. But I think one thing about it is having emotional intelligence of when to stop asking,
Mm.
or the right person to ask. And the reason I say that is because if you're asking for referrals to somebody that is not your perfect client, then you're not going to get great referrals anyway, because that person's going to refer you to people that are like them, because that's who they hang out with, that's who they know.
Yeah.
And so, people ask me all the time, do you ask referrals to everyone? And I was like, no, I don't, because I don't want to talk to everyone. I
No.
want a specific person I want to speak to. And if they do not qualify for that description, I probably don't want to ask them for an introduction, because they probably don't know that many people that I want to be introduced to. So, I just want to make that disclaimer too at the end of the day. But the very first thing people always ask me, well, where do I start? What do I do? The very first thing I did is I got a list of 100 people that I knew. And this was back when I was 25 years old. I was just starting into coaching and consulting. And I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. And I just made this list. They were my friends, my acquaintances, people from organizations I was belonged to. They were my neighbors. They were ex coworkers of mine. They were people that did the internship that I did. just people on my social media, people on my LinkedIn. I scrolled my phone, but by getting to number 60, 61, I was struggling. I'm not going to lie. Like I didn't know that many people. I knew enough to like ask them a question, like, who do you know? So I tried to keep going and going and going, but I made this list and I didn't know who was going to be someone that was a champion for me, giving me tons of names. And I didn't know who would give me 0 names. Like I didn't know. And when I made this list, I did not go to this list to sell anyone. I did not ask them to have me in to speak to their team. I did not ask them to get a coach. Nothing to that extent. I literally just went to these people and said, "Can you please help me? I am trying to meet people. I am trying to grow my network. You're a well-connected person. You know a lot of people. Can you just introduce me to some?" And it was just that simple. We have word tracks, we have like professional things that you can be saying, but I was that simple when I was ask them for names. The point of making this 100 list is to get 500 introductions, 500 people that you can call and just start talking to. Who knew where it would lead? Maybe it would lead to have me booked in for a workshop. Maybe it would lead for a coaching client. I didn't know at the time, and I didn't have a result at the time. I just wanted to talk to as many people as humanly possible. Now, the number one thing I would say is you cannot prejudge who you put down on this piece of paper either. You just have to not think about it and just put them down. The worst case scenario is they can say, "I don't know anyone," not answer your phone call. It leaves you no worse than where you were before. Best case scenario, they give you 1,000,000 people to talk to, right? Now, my dad, love my dad. My dad was on my list. My dad gave me one name. And he said to me, and I remember it like it was yesterday, he was like, "Hey, here's a name. Go get your feet kicked in. Come back to me. I'll give you more names." I'm like, oh my gosh. But my own dad, who knows me and trusts me and all that type of stuff, just gave me one. But then I got down to this guy, Brian. Brian stayed on the phone with me for over an hour and gave me 86 names. 86 names. And so it's like, I didn't know Brian would have been that person for me. I had no idea. But he was the one that gave me the most names out of the 100 people that I wrote down. Now, my most success from the very beginning of working as a consultant in the consulting industry, it was a guy named Will, and I did an internship with him. And I talked to him quite a bit before the internship. And then after that, we never talked. It was like 6 years that went by. But I had him on my 100 list. And I did because he worked for Merrill Lynch at the time. And I knew he knew financial advisors. And so I asked Will, I did my whole spiel like, "Hey, I'm really just trying to grow my network. I know you work for Merrill. Who do you know that you could introduce me to that has a leadership team that has at least 3 salespeople?" And he gave me his dad's name, Bill. And Bill, then when I got on the phone with Bill, was like, "Hey, girl, you don't need to talk to me. You need to talk to Tony. Tony's the person that you need to speak with." So Will gave me Bill, his dad, who gave me Tony, the guy that I would want to speak to. Like Bill had a team, a smaller team, but Tony was over everybody. And that right there broke a company record. When I got in with Tony and had that workshop with Tony, it was the biggest check that a first year rookie has ever received from one workshop, because Tony paid for everybody that got into coaching. 11 people got into coaching. And that came from my 100 list of Will. And so the moral of the story here is you just have to ask the people that know you, that trust you, that know that you're a good person for help. And that's all you're asking for. You're not asking for business. You're not asking for them to do business with you. You're just looking for the introductions that's going to lead to the success that you know you deserve and that you're going to earn after you work your butt off. So, that's where I would say is where you start. Make this 100 list and go from there.
I had a couple stories to feed off that, but yeah, I just want to. My first question is Will's name is Bill. Is that what you're telling me? Will Bill?
It's Will Jr. They're both William. So, yeah.
The way I found Derek Tam, let me tell you this. I cold called a guy named Jesse Berglund. Cold called him. He's here in Minneapolis. He was in Edina. He was an MD at the time. Jesse let me come in. Josh Storms signed up for coaching. Josh invited me to a poker networking game one night.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to it and I sat by a guy named Kyle Payne. I didn't know Kyle. Kyle said, you need to talk to a guy named Drew DeWitt. I didn't know Drew. Drew has since become a friend over the last 13 years, just a really good dude. Drew introduced me to a guy named and said, didn't introduce me, just said you need to talk to a guy named Joel Selesky, who was a past sold books in that same area. Okay. Well, Joel's the one that said you need to talk to Derek Tam. Derek said, I will talk to you, but the only time I can talk is at 6 o'clock in the morning because I drive from St. Cloud to Minneapolis every morning and it is an hour drive. So I got up didn't get up, I'm already up, but had a conversation with him at 6 o'clock in the morning about this. And that's the evolution of how that happened. I never looked at that as referrals. I just looked at it as names, and it all started with cold calling. So, of course, being the stubborn mule that I am, I think that I have to cold call. Now, I have two stories on that. When I first started, I was told to make my list of 100 people. I didn't do it because it was weird and it was awkward and I didn't want to do it. What I did do is I queried all of my people out of LinkedIn. And at the time, I had 567 people that I was connected to. And I still didn't send it until it was a Saturday night. Things were not going in the business the way I wanted them to. I didn't sell anything for like the first 8 months I was there. And I had 2 beers and I said, F it after that and sent an email to all 560 people, which was very overwhelming when you get like 400 emails back. Yeah. Yep. And then even then, when I called them or talked to a couple of them, they were asking me what I did and what I was looking for, and I couldn't really answer the question, so I couldn't help them. And of course, my ego goes, this is weird. I'm not going to call them anymore. Instead of doing what Jenny is asking you and telling you to do, put the ego away and just ask for help and watch what starts to happen. And that's why I tell you that story, because that held me back until I met those other people. About a year or two later, I hovered and I struggled because my ego got the best of me and I didn't want to feel weird and awkward, which is so many times I ask the question, what's the hardest part about asking for introductions or referrals? Well, it's because we don't want to feel pushy and awkward and weird and all these different things. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's me, you're not alone. Let's call it what it is. You've got the drive, you've got the experience, like you have it. You have it. You know what you're doing. But something still feels off at times, or things could be better. We know that. They can be. You know there's more. What we do is we help committed leaders go from guessing and grinding to really leading with clarity and structure and confidence. We're offering complimentary DNA strategy calls. We're going to evaluate how you're leading, where performance might be breaking down. It happens. and what really needs to tighten up within your business, within your leadership, within those people around you. Then we're going to take this next step. And what we're going to do is build accountability, the skills and the systems to create that consistent or those consistent results around it. If you're open to digging in a little bit, the link is below in the show notes. Just book your DNAcall.com and we will find time for you and we will dig in with you. All right, let's get back to it. Many times when I go in and speak, I'll ask the question, and Jenny's heard me say this before, how many of you feel like you're pretty good at what you do? And if there's a room of 20 people in there, usually 10 hands go up, which is kind of funny. And then I say, well, let me ask this in a different way. How many of you know that you're going to add value to every person you sit down with, whether they say yes or no? That's when I see all 20 hands go up. Because you are in an industry, I knew that if I talked to all 567 people, that I would add value to them. Somehow, some way, my conversation, talking, names, give to get, all the things that we need to do and should do, I would have added value in some way. Or maybe it's just laughing and smiling and talking about family or whatever it is. But instead, I chose the path of cold calling.
Oh, good.
And I had to beat my head against the wall for years.
You're
And
so good at referrals now.
because I've learned how not to do it and I've learned to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, and like you just said, you're good at it. There are times that I will send a text or ask in person or an email, and I will still get the nervous stretchies. Like you're going like this, like, and then I just hit send. And I'm like, so don't let me kid you folks, okay? It's still not an ingrained thing that is normal. But if you try to make things an ingrained thing and normal for everything that you do, it's not going to happen. There are times you have to push through the awkward and the weird and the uncomfortable. And that's how you grow in business. That's how people can help you. Because if you sit there and cold call and be the best kept secret, that's what you're going to be, is the best kept secret. And that's what Jenny's teaching you is it's really easy when you just do it. If you will just do it. Don't be a Brent and cold call, and then eventually build your business through that is kind of what I wanted to tell you there, I guess. Put it that way. Yeah. So, okay. Why do we make it so hard? Why? Why do you think we do, Jen?
That's a strong word. I think that people either forget to ask, like
Okay.
they get really excited, they're in this appointment, they made this sale, it's already been an hour, they're almost late to the next meeting, and they just don't do it or they forget to do it. I think people think they're asking.
Hmm.
Actually, 90% of the time, people say, yeah, I ask for referrals. Okay, how many times did you ask last week? Once. How many did you get? Zero. I'm like, what do you mean you think you ask? Like, it's, I feel like maybe people ask in a passive way. We call it the alligator technique, right? The whole adage of like, well, if you can think of anyone, here's my business card, or let me know if or they put it at the bottom of their
Your
email
signature.
signature.
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
it's on the
all the
signature.
time. What? So like ask in a passive way or just ask in a way not to get them, right? Like they say, do you know someone I can talk to? I don't know who needs a financial advisor right now. Like, who am I going to give you? I don't know. Or you say the word referral. Hey, can you refer me to them? And automatically people kind of hesitate or they say, oh, let me ask them, first and I'll get back to you. It's like, what? So it's making it easier for people to give you some. And then it wouldn't be so. It's not hard. It's simple. It's simple. It's just you got to make a system around it to do it, and then get more comfortable with it. But um, maybe you can say it's not always easy. It's simple though.
Well, that's what I wrote down, or what I was thinking as you said. People forget
Hmm.
because we don't have a process around it. It's just not something that you do, whether it's maybe you're in a meeting and it's on your agenda, or you have it on your calendar to ask X amount of times per day, or you don't take a Friday morning and look at your next week and go, okay, these are the 5 people I'm going to ask, and this is the text or the email or the in person. This is how, who, what I'm looking for. You don't have, like you talked about, memory joggers, so we're not pinpointing it. It's all these different things that we can make it really easy. And that's why I'm asking, why do we make it so hard? Well, really, it's just because it's not part of a process. We haven't made it normal. Like our blood pressure goes up when we, which is so weird to me because it's, you do a really good thing. You're just trying to help people. If you cold call, somebody might say yes or somebody might say no. So when you ask for an introduction, they're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. Nothing changes there. It just becomes easier, and you can help more people, because what's the 66, or what's the percentage that you talk about people do business with you and it's an actual introduction from somebody?
I mean, a referral will 1 in 3 referrals will do business with you, and referral based business closes 60 times
There
faster
you
than your business out there.
go. So I butchered that, but that is exactly it right there. Like that's what I sit here and I think about where I used to be and think about where I am now, and why we make it so hard on ourselves to just do this simple little thing. And this little thing, if you just do it, will grow your business more than you can even fathom,
Hmm.
hands down. Because if you think of all the people, you just take one person, and I don't know the exact stats, so I'm not going to make it up, but the amount of people that they know that are in their circle, whether it's their phone, especially their phone now, LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, Instagram, all those different things, the amount of people they're connected with and that are part of their life or acquaintances, it's astronomical. Like, it just doesn't, that line doesn't end, you know,
Hmm.
right there in front of us when we just do it. It's crazy.
And I know I explained the story in the sense of like just starting out at a company, but this is something, even if you're 15 years into your
We
business,
still do it. Yeah.
you it's like this ever developing list. And some people on this 100 list are going to exit out of your life and not be someone that stays there, but then you just keep adding to it. And one of my clients, he does this with recruiting, and this past year he was the number one recruiter in his entire region because of the Hot 100. And he used a Hot 100 on every single one of his agents underneath him, and got more recruits organically because of this. So uh, I just know, if you can get that ego taken down, not feel like you've arrived, not feel like you're the best recruiter ever, and implement this, you will tenfold your results this year because of it.
I make this part of my process. So I do a planning day every year. And I'll just tell you this, I take the whole day and plan out my business for the next year. And I literally I have it planned. During my planning day, I have planned to go through my phone, my LinkedIn, and past clients. Okay. And what I do is I have a big list. I just make a big Word doc because I don't like spreadsheets. So I just make a big Word doc is all it is. And then I copy and paste that into an email and I send it myself and keep the Word doc. So I have it in 2 different spots in case something happens. And those are people that I coffees, lunches, calls, keep up in life with them, all these different things. And you'll be amazed. So I go through my phone and LinkedIn is really all it is. And you'll be amazed of the people that maybe you forgot about, or people that you haven't talked to for a while, or people that you have really good, or like I just did a podcast with Corey Anderson today. And I don't know if you have these people, but it's those people that you talk to, or when their name comes up or you think about them, you smile. And those are the types of people that you put on your list because you know you can help each other out, or you're just going to have a really good conversation as well. So that's what I would encourage you to do. And it doesn't have to be at the end of the year. Like if you're listening to this in a random day, on a random week, at a random time, push pause and then put it on your calendar to take 2 hours to do this. Give yourself permission and watch what happens to your business then. And then you can start reaching out to a couple of them a week. Maybe you put a process around it. It's 3, 5, 10, whatever it is that you want to do. And that's it. That's it. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. That's it. And we wait so much. If you ask yourself, like Jenny just talked about, should I put this person on the list or should I not put this person on the list? I will answer that question for you. Put them on the list. Okay? And now you have it. It's that simple. I don't know how else to say that. Like,
Uh,
oh,
one other thing I will add to, a lot of times I feel like the hard part is, well, I have this name. Now what do I do? Like this is it's kind of awkward or whatever. Like, and the fact is the fastest way to gain rapport with anybody is talking about somebody that you both know, even though you don't know each other yet. So if I had no idea who Joel Selesky was, and I approached Joel and talked about Brent, he will automatically like me and trust me because I'm talking about someone that he knows that I know, even though he doesn't know me yet. That is simple fact. Fastest
mhm.
way to gain rapport, to gain trust with somebody. So we call it the trust. We need to find that one thing that we can talk about to this person when you do call them. And that's why this 100 list is super vital, because the very last part of it is, well, what is either a fun fact about them, something you respect about them, or something that has happened recently that was super fun. And if you go into that conversation and you share that story or you praise them about what Brent said about you and how amazing you are and what's a good guy you are, he's automatically going to like me because I'm complimenting him and talking about Brent, right? A story can go a long way. My favorite story is the Tony and Bill story, and I do know that that is one of the reasons why Tony gave me more time on the phone than the average person. And I asked Bill, what was the story about Tony that's funny? Like, what's something interesting about him? And he said, just this past weekend, he went over to Tony's house with his wife. They had like a date night, and Tony and Bill had a cook off on who can make the best steak. And Tony's steak lost, Bill's steak won. So when I went into the conversation with Tony, I made fun of him about how his wife thought Bill's steak was better. And he thought it was the funniest thing. he thought I was like the best person. Not only did I know Bill and that he respects Bill, but I had this funny story about him. So he gave me the 20 minutes on the call, right? He listened to me. He wanted to hear what I had to say. And so you don't need all three of those things. You only need one. And don't overcomplicate this. But we give you these three ideas because these are the three things that can hit a home run when you're talking to them. And that's how you just open up the call. Hey, Tony, it's Jenny. I got your information from Bill. Does that name help me, hurt me? He had the funniest story that he told me about you. He told me that your steak lost at the cook-off and that your wife thought his steak was better. How do you like him now? It's that easy. And then he's like, what are you calling me for? What do you do? And then you just go into your script. So it's just that it's that simple, and it's that icebreaker that you can use to go into the conversation.
I love that. I'm going to piggyback something on you said. Two things that you said. What do I do with that name? You know what you do with the name? You call it. That's what you do. You pick up the phone and you have a conversation. I love the way you said that you're just their friend then, because you already have some sort of story. Use your personality. Hey, Ryan, got your name from Bill. Bill told me to call you. He said you ran a 50 miler this weekend and that Crustables were your best friend and that you were going to kill it. And then reality hit you and you sucked. How'd that go for you? Things like that you can just have a conversation with somebody. Just talk to people is all it is. What Jenny just talked about, having a story or having something about them. And again, you don't have to. You already have the name. If I have Jenny's name and she gave me the name to call some Danielle, and I call Danielle and talk about Jenny, she's going to light up and we're going to have a good laugh about Jenny, just her personality and how she lights up a room and how she's very straight to the point, or lived in New York, or whatever it is. Like, there's things there. That's what we mean. And it make this really easy on yourself, I guess, is what we're saying here is when opportunity is right in front of your face, there are usually two types of people. There's the ones that will grasp onto that opportunity and they will take it and they will run with it. Like listening to this podcast and saying, I can do that. They just made that really easy for me. And then there's the ones over here that will think about it. They'll ponder about it. It'll have to be perfect. It's who should I ask? How do I ask? Where do I start? What do I do? For those people that are thinking that right now, just hit rewind and listen to it again. Okay. And then write down all the things that we've asked you to do and then just do it and watch what happens. Okay. It really is that easy. And I don't mean that. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't mean that in a bad way. That's not bad. That's going to multiply your business. That's going to 10x what you're doing right now, hands down. So, yeah. Anything to add, Mrs. Widman?
Well, this is how you just work deep within companies or deep within recruiting, like friends want to work with other friends. And so when you recruit one attractor, they can probably bring in three more people just because of who they are. When you get a champion name, a well-respected name in a company, and that person is very high up, they are going to give you other equals to them in their company. Like that's what I mean by working an area deep, or working your territory deep or tight. Like this is how you do it. And sometimes it takes a minute to get the right introduction. Sometimes it takes a minute to, you'll get a couple little ones here and there and it will be great. And then all of a sudden one will hit and you'll be number one for the year. So it's just, you got to keep it going. You got to keep it consistent. You got to keep it in front of you, and great things will happen for your business. But it's not what you know anymore. It's definitely who you know. And that is where this comes in full effect. And You get better life experiences because of it. You get more things that you get to do. You get to go speak to in Africa because you got the right referral to someone. Like there's only good that can come out of it. You meet more people. If you're in sales, you're a people person. You like people. So uh it's just do it. Just like Brent said.
I would take that phrase, it's not what you know, who you know, to a different level and say it's not what you know, it's who you're willing to know.
Mm.
And if you're willing to do it, really good things will happen. I mean, we sit here and think about all the people we're working with, and each and every one of them have been referral based. There is not one person on my calendar or one person that we work with now that is not referral based. And again, it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm going to give you this name. I'm going to introduce you. Here's a really funny fact about them. And then let's get on a 3-way call and we can all talk to each other together. Like that's not what we're saying here. We're saying just make your life easy. Okay. We don't need to keep rehashing it, but yeah. Don't make it as hard as you're making it. Don't make it as hard as Brent Widman made it. Make it as hard as Jenny Widman made it easy. How about that? Let's do that. Okay. I love it. Thank you again for listening to this. You can find us if you want to learn how to get referrals. This is just one aspect, 1 iota, 1% of what we help you with. DNAcall.com. And we will set up time with you. We will figure out a way to help you out. We will dig in with you and figure out what's going on in your business, what's going well, what may not be going as well as you want it to. And we are here for you. Whether it's Jenny that you resonate with more or me that you resonate with more, reach out. It's really that simple. So thank you again for being on it. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.